probably weave that into our conversation today. And I think it's time to get Jason in the house. Let's get this baby going. Morning, Jason.
Good. I would say good morning, but I'm in the afternoon, remember?
Good
So I'm in
afternoon.
your future.
You are. Good afternoon. And how in the world is Jason doing?
I'm doing really well. Yeah, I'm apart from a few niggles here and there, but I think that just goes hand in hand with life. So yeah, no, I'm feeling very good. I'm feeling very positive about the conversation today. And thank you for inviting me again on your show. And what I want to say, which I think is quite impactful, and it's also to do with what we're going to be saying anyway. And what you have doing and what you are doing is consistency, and consistency in showing up all the time. And these are one of the attributes that we should all admire, we should all look up to and actually embrace, because once you're more consistent with your own actions, you can actually find yourself actually propelling yourself forward. And what I mean by that, if you show up in the same way, like Russ is showing up in the same way every single time I ever speak to him, he knows his meaning and he knows his values behind everything he does, and he knows his purpose. So backing up everything from what we do, and if you're in sales and if you're in marketing, your own consistency makes a massive impact forward. So what I mean by that is, if you're speaking to a client, you're consistent with your actions, you're consistent on how you show up with them, and you're consistent. Oh, he's taking a drink of coffee because he knows I'm going to carry on a little bit. But I think these sort of things in life and in now are extremely positive things to actually take on board. So if I was to give you a golden nugget of knowledge right now for you to take on board and propel yourself forward in your life, but also not in your life, just as a value to be and have. So often I see people that are not consistent with what they do. They don't show up in the same way that they should do. They haven't got the right energy, or the energy is not quite there when they show up with their clients. Or alternatively, how you show up in the morning before you meet your clients. What do you do particularly to get those energy levels up and prepare yourself mentally forward for that particular day?
Right. Well, I love what you said there, because preparing to be consistent, being intentional about what you're doing, those are huge things. And, I'm all about consistency, because showing up is the biggest part of the battle, starting, showing up. But then the next thing is really being consistent and doing it over and over and over.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk more about that, but I'm going to back up and say, let everybody know that doesn't know who you are, which I'm sure is not a ton of people, but for those that don't know Jason Cooper, who are you and what are you up to?
Oh, that's a really good question. And it's all about me. No, that's great. My name's Jason Cooper. I'm a high performance trainer and coach. I also speak about how to impact relationships with people. But everything I perceive and think to do is at the peak potential and high performance. I want to make sure that I push people up to their purpose, their values, and impact their life so they can help them, but also help their clients to the best of their abilities and beyond their abilities, because we're all here to serve them and to take the narrative out of our own head, because it's not about us. But when you actually are serving other people, you're impacting other people's lives. So ironically enough, this is something that I found that I love to do. A lot of the stuff I do now is all about high performance. And the way I like to look at it, you might have seen a lot of my posts online. I work with a lot of corporations. I worked with big clients like Google and IBM and various other clients like that globally, but also locally and within EMEA region as well. The main points that I want to get to is people's mind and mindsets and their own values, so they know what their intrinsic values and their intrinsic motivations are, but also that and everything else that comes outside of that, their extrinsic values and their extrinsic motivations. What gets them up in the morning? What drives them into helping other people? That's once you get that, you get the magic. And what I mean by that magic, you help people drive. You help people find their little bit of purpose and their little bit of motivation. And then you can talk about methodologies, and then we can talk about anything else. But it all starts with the first thing first. So I'm all over LinkedIn, all over my own website, jasoncooper.io. Thank you for that little plug, Jason. I appreciate that.
That was good. A shameless plug, but awesome. I love this. So I'm going to back up and, nuggets I'm taking out of what you're saying. Number one, we need to have purpose and why we're even here on this earth to help people out and help them achieve high performance.
Yeah.
And so that takes preparation and planning. And then you got to show up. You can plan and prepare all you want, but if you don't start and show up, then you're all for naught. And then you've got to keep doing it because so many people are a flash in the pan. That's what my mama used to call it, a flash in the pan. They would come flash and they're just like amazing, and then they disappear. And you know what? I know several of those that people loved that were amazing, how it positively affected their business, and all these great things happen, but they stopped doing the things that got them there. It's kind of like people that tell me, Jason, I've got so much business, I don't really need to market now. And I'm always going, man, those are famous last words. That is going to be when there is a downturn and you don't have all the business you need and you have not been marketing, it's going to hit you hard. And you know who's going to survive through those times? The people that have kept marketing, that have kept the visibility, that have remained consistent through it all. And that is so important, isn't it?
Yeah. Funnily enough, I was at a networking event last week, and because I like to show up online and all that, some guy came up to me, and I haven't networked for a while, and this bloke came up to me. I know you. I was going, really? How do you know me? I just know you from somewhere. I was going. Then we carried on the conversation. Said, I see you doing LinkedIn Lives, and I see you posting all the time. I don't do it myself, but I've noticed you, which is that was quite humbling for me to hear, because the message is coming across. And it's amazing how much people know and see what you do, even though you can see the statistics and the data and all of that, which is great and wonderful. But it's humbling once you hear it from someone else saying, oh, you have heard about you. I know what you do, which is great, which is half of the battle when you're doing the way I like to see it's my personal brand, because it's me, myself, and I have a marketing and VA and all of that. But it's the gift to the world by my personal branding. It's how I'm showing up, which adds so much more kudos to what we do in this area of serving other people to help them to get what they want.
Right. Well, and I love that. And, I'm going to chime into that a story. It's very interesting because this is what I always preach to people about showing up and being consistent and going to networking events or whatever. And I've experienced this firsthand. So I have, through my cancer journey, have remained very consistent online. I have an amazing assistant, Ever, who's in the background right now. Ever, you're awesome and amazing, doing all these great things. But my online presence has remained very strong. But my in-person presence has faded a little bit because of my ability to get out there as much. So, but I experienced this because I used to go up, and just what you said triggered this. I would have people say to me, I know you. I've either seen you or you've been around all these things, or I know everybody you know, or these kind of things. And I have no idea who these people are. Also have in situations where I'm taking my hashtag Russ selfies, and one week I don't even know them. The next week they're my best friend because they were in a selfie with me, right? And so this kind of things happen. Well, I'm at a big event. I was nominated for a couple awards at a distinguished service banquet here just in the last week. And I was there and I saw somebody I've known for a long time, but not really well. But she's been at all the networking events and known her for a long time. She paused and stopped and she said, man, I'm trying to remember your name. Who are you again? She had forgotten who I was in that, because clearly she's not online as much. She works for a newspaper. she's running around. But my point is, that's what I tell people. You're easily forgotten. You're easily forgotten. People think, oh, everybody knows Russ. No,
Yeah.
everybody doesn't, because Russ hasn't been around all the time in person lately. And so it makes a big difference. And so that's why consistency is showing up is so, so important, because you want to keep that visibility and not let people forget you. Right, Jason?
Yeah. No, it is. It is. And helping people to remember you, which is so important. And I always say it's the narrative and how we communicate forward to people. The thing that I don't like to do is I like to give value online, but I don't like the value where people boast about themselves, which I don't. That it's I think to me it just does the reverse effect. Every now and again, you have to market yourself. These are the things that I do, and I always say it's the Pareto principle. We have to tell people what we do, because otherwise they might forget and they might get lost in the messages that we push out. So yeah, that is important. But everything else that I like to say, it's the value part. And that is more impactful than all the other stuff that we do. Even when we do this sort of stuff, we're marketing ourselves. Both you and I are marketing ourselves now. We are building relationships with the audience. And also, as you suggested when we first started about relationships, we've known each other for the last 5 or 6 years or so, like that. And the good thing is here, and this is what I do with a lot of people, and you're very good at this as well, is to keep in contact. I always get messages from you every now and again, how are you doing and all that. But that's how good relationships work. And that's how good relationships work in business as well, and
Right.
your clients as well. You check in with them. How are you doing? How is things? How's what we did, the coaching sessions or the training sessions, that how's it impacted your bottom line? What's happened in your world? What challenges are you facing now? What things, maybe there's something that we can discuss, or whatever it might be.
Right. Well, it's being consistent, right? Because a relationship is a two-way street
Yeah.
where people stay in touch, communicate, care about each other, all of that. And I was telling a story on the live stream last night that I was guesting on, and that is the idea of caring about other people enough to just get to really know them. I take people out to lunch, and I've had them literally walk out we pay, we're walking out the door, and they look at me and they say, thank you.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you're welcome. For what? And they said, for not talking about business.
Yeah.
And somebody says to me, you mean you took this client out and you didn't even talk about business? Absolutely. And why? Because they already know what I do.
Yeah.
They
Exactly.
already know. And so what I'm doing is I'm working on building that relationship and just getting to know them. And that means more to them than cramming things down their throat. Now, I agree with you. You got to let people know what you do, and you got to keep that out there. But what people really want to know, Jason, and I want you to talk to this, is what can you do for me? I can make you visible. I can make you more high impact. I can make you a better performer, right? A higher performer. This is what I can do for you. And that's what people want to know, right?
Yep. Yeah. I like, it's telling them in a good way, in a positive, constructive way, which can frame things well. And it looks like my camera has gone off, and I don't know why. Let me just try and get it back
Wow.
on.
Yeah. Well, I
Oh,
can
we
hear you
are
great.
back
Oh,
on,
there you
and
are.
it's using my other camera, which my other camera has gone off. But that's all right. You can see the more of me, which is even better to the world.
There
But
you
when we
go.
actually develop that, and I'm going to link it straight back in, pivoting. When things don't go your way, what do we do? So if we're talking about technology here, and obviously some part of my technology isn't working as well, but then you pivot and you change with that, because life is about that, and your business is all about that. And even the clients that we serve, if they're going on a straight line, something's not right, because they should be zigzagging all the way up to their performance, because sometimes things don't go as well. So that's when we zigzag across like that, and we move and we change, because that's the way of the world. If you're always doing what you've always done, nothing's going to change. If you start to impact and make a difference and think about how you can make a difference, things change. When I say change, this is the change that we want to install into other people so they can connect, and their neurons and wire and fire in their brain, they can connect the dots in their own mind and get that eureka moment that they've made a difference and they've changed. Once we've helped people change their narrative, their thoughts, their feelings behind things, that's exactly what we do. We're an aggregator, we're a facilitator. We help them build their own minds and their own purpose. And while we're onto that, if you look over there, they are my awards and my ultra marathon, some of them.
Makes me tired just looking at them.
Yeah, there's a lot more hanging around. I would normally have them around my neck like Mr. T, but I don't want to do that today.
Well, you are amazing. When I see you running in those things, I think, wow, I'm exhausted just looking at that. I have been relegated to walking over the last few years because of my knee surgery, but I love it. All the stuff you're doing, and you push through and you accomplish so much. And it says a lot to what you do in business too, because when people see you accomplishing in life, no matter what you're doing, and they see that you're a high achiever, those are the kind of people they want to align themselves with, right? Because if you're looking for a financial guy, you want a guy who looks great, who's doing very well financially, and got a big house, big cars, but that guy knows how to make money. He can help me, right? If you see a guy that's had 3 bankruptcies and he wants to help you with your finances, probably not the guy you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, things like that are so important to get through in all that we both do. And I just Jason, you are full of so much great information. I forgot how great you are, and I've got to have you back on.
I'm here to remind you, Russ. So that's my job for today, is just to remind you, but also help you on your own path as well, because I'm doing that. Although I'm a bit injured at the moment, but I'm going to power through that and get fit and get back onto it.
Right.
But you have to have those belief systems and have something that scares you, but also to be congruent with what you do. So if I'm talking about high performance, I've got to make sure that I'm doing it and believing it myself. And it's the value systems in myself. And exactly the same as yourself there, Russ. You have put yourself through a lot of challenges within the last year or two. But the good thing is you're living your life on purpose. You're fighting it through. You're living within your own belief systems that whatever happens, I'm going to power through and I'm going to get through that. And that's exactly why we're the same, on the same way and path forward, is because we want to help others. But in order to help others, number one, we've got to help ourselves. And that brings us loosely back into being present and really understanding ourselves and our capabilities, because we want to make sure that we push beyond our own boundaries. We want to make sure that we have these goals, and we want to make sure that they're scary enough for us to actually go out. I'm actually going to do that. And for the stuff that you've been through over the last year is commendable. And that's really helps other people see that if I'm going through that, or if I'm going through that in my business and things are not going so well, what do I need to do to just push on out those boundaries and make things a little bit more scary so I can go and strive towards that? Not everyone has that, but it's our job now is to get them on purpose, get them on a vision of actually wanting to do it and believe in themselves. So once they have that buy-in internally that they want to achieve, possibilities are absolutely endless.
Well, and that is so true, because, it's like the airplane analogy. If you don't take care of yourself and if you don't get yourself on the right track, you can't help anybody else. That mask falls. If you don't take care of yourself, you're going to pass out. You're no good for anybody. You've got to make sure that you're on the right track. You're aligned. You're doing what you need to be doing. You're successful so that you can help others be successful. I totally agree with that. You need to live your life with purpose and on purpose. Totally. You and I are on the same track there. And most of all, I think it comes down to really caring and really being in focusing on how you can help other people. And they see that. They see that you care. They see that you know what you're talking about. And Jason, we're going to have to schedule another show because there's so much great stuff I want to still talk about. But I got to wrap it up for today. So tell everybody your gold nugget of the day, the one thing you really want them to remember in the next minute, and how do they get in touch with you?
Live life on purpose. Know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, you're going to be lost into the wilderness. It takes time and effort to find that little spark. Once you get it, and you will get it, then you can drive yourself forward. You can find me at jasoncooper.io, jcooper@jasoncooper.io. That's my email. If you don't know what email is, we all know what email is. LinkedIn is my number one communication channel. You can just do a search for Jason Cooper. You'll find me. And I'm always happy to connect with people. And I want to make sure you connect and you write something which is engaging. If you're here to sell to me, I'm not interested in the first email. What we are here is a social channel, is to have a communication and a dialogue. That's the way it is. Take it off if it needs to be. So that's how you can find out more about me.
Well, and all that information, Jason, has magically appeared in the comments. It's been, your LinkedIn has been ticking along the bottom. All that information in the comments and the show notes is clickable, everybody. So you can go click on that and go straight to Jason and connect with him today. And I really encourage you to do that. You will be blessed and be better for it. So please do that today. And Jason, thank you so much for being with me today. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate you. I am going to say goodbye to you, but hang tight in the green room. I'll be right there. Okay.
Okay. Take care now. Thanks a lot.
All right, man. I tell you, he is amazing. He's amazing. I want to just tell you that living your life on purpose, with purpose, and living life now is so important. Don't forget to check out that marketing tip of the day and share it with other people today, because now is your day of action. If you want to be visible, if you want to make things happen, if you want to build relationships, connect and build community, you got to do it now. And so I just encourage you to take advantage of that. Speaking of now, I'm going to tell you, I appreciate you, because today, as we are speaking now, I am getting scans done, a PET scan and an MRI, and things to find out where things are with the cancer and in my body. And I want to pray that I'm expecting a good report. And I want all of you that want to send good thoughts and prayers my way. I believe God is a healer, and that you are making an impact in my life through that. And so many of you have. This community is amazing. Thousands of people around the world have been such a blessing to me and my family. So thank you for that. I just want to ask that today. And also just want to remind you that we're here every Monday and Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, for your listening and viewing pleasure. And if you have any time, you can go and connect directly on YouTube today, which I would love for you to do. Subscribe today on YouTube by going to marketingwithruss.live. There you go. And you can connect directly to me at russhedge.com. So simple, so easy. Love for you to do it. Love to chat with you. And with that said, we are out of time today. I am so thankful that you've all been here. Please connect with Jason, and you will be glad you did it. And until next time, have an amazing day, an amazing week. We'll see you. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an amazing day.